Greetings, mortals. Welcome to another session of the Infernal Court in musical hell. I'm Diva, your judge, jury, executioner, and girl with kaleidoscope eyes. Objectively, I can understand why one would make a jukebox musical from the Beatles catalog. Not only are they one of the most influential bands in recent history, many of their songs have an inherent dramatic quality. It's easy to imagine characters and scenes built around them. Dear Prudence, encouraging a shy girl to come out of her shell. Eleanor Rigby, an examination of a lonely soul. Unlike other bands I could name, ABBA, the Beatles' music tells a compelling story, which you would think would make it a natural fit for a musical. That doesn't mean the results won't suck, though. Consider one of the most embarrassing tributes to the Fab Four, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. You can tell the people who made this movie had their heart in the right place. They brought together a lot of high-profile musical talent, Peter Frampton, the Bee Gees, Aerosmith, Alice Cooper, Earth, Wind and Fire, to pay tribute to a classic Beatles album. And the story, such as it is at its core a well-meaning love will triumph over greed yarn. Whatever else, the cast and director Michael Schultz do have good intentions. But we all know where those end up leading. Let's examine the case of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Ugh, already with the bad puns. The movie hasn't even started and it's desperate. The opening gives us the history of the original Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, which ended World War I through the power of music and entertained folks for the next 40 years until Sgt. Pepper keeled over on the exact same day his hometown of Heartland erected a happiness-detecting weather vane in his honor. Get used to it, folks. The movie only gets stranger from here on in. The band's instruments had the power to make dreams come true, so of course such precious and potentially dangerous objects are preserved by leaving them in an open display where anyone could walk up and take them.
Wow, dumber than advertised.
This backstory is explained to us by George Burns as Heartland's mayor, Mr. Kite. He does a lot of explaining over the course of the movie, which allows me to explain sin number 1, the clumsy storytelling. There's no actual dialogue in this movie. The characters communicate entirely through the music of the Beatles. The problem is that's not how the movie tells its story. Most of what's happening is narrated to us by Burns or through an abundant use of subtitles. This results in a classic example of show, don't tell. The movie interrupts itself to explain what's going on because it's not effectively communicating what's going on. It keeps getting in the way of the actors trying to tell the story. Although, as we'll soon discover, they have their own issues to be dealing with. Sgt. Pepper's The Next Generation consists of the Sarge's grandson, Billy Shears, played by Peter Frampton, and his friends, the Henderson brothers, played by the Bee Gees. Billy's greedy brother, Dougie, serves as the band's manager. Billy also has a girlfriend whose name, I fear, is Strawberry Fields. Clearly, her parents wanted her to be a stripper or a Bond girl. In this case, we do need Burns to explain Strawberry and Billy are in love because their performances give no indication.
I get by with a little help from my friends. Yeah, I get high with a little help from my friends.
And that brings us to sin number 2. I have said many things about actors in musicals who cannot sing. The time has come to examine the opposite end of the spectrum, singers who cannot act. This movie has an abundance of them, but none more obvious than the main characters. Frampton and the Bee Gees rarely manage more than expressions of mildly perplexed wonder. Sandy Farina as Strawberry is unimpressive as well, showing about as much personality as a limp rag. They can sing a song and even make it mean something, but when the music ends, they're hopeless. Oh look, the plot has arrived. The Lonely Hearts Club Band gets a comically oversized telegram from one B.D. Hoffler, a big muckety-muck in the record business who wants to sign the group to the standard rich and famous for the price of your soul contract. So they set off for Los Angeles in a hot air balloon. I can't believe I just said that. But not before Strawberry and Billy share a fond farewell.
Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, It feels like years since it's been here.
This song is a bit too cheerful for someone about to be parted from their true love, isn't it? Yes, once again we run into that common trap of jukebox musicals, songs that don't really fit in with the story. Not all the songs in this movie are shoehorned in. Some of them work very well. I Want You, for example, is very well suited to the scene where the Lonely Hearts Club gets seduced by the Hollywood dazzle.
I want you. I want you so bad, baby.
But it's glaringly obvious when the movie is throwing in a character or scene just to justify the use of a song. For instance, there's this temptress of a singer named Lucy. Yes, of course her backup group is called the Diamonds. Do you even need to ask? She's supposed to be Strawberry's rival for Billy's affections, but apart from a few brazen overtures, she doesn't add much to the plot. But hey, they have a famous Beatles song, and damn it, they're gonna use it. And some of the song placements are just incomprehensible. Can anyone explain to me why, in all the 9 circles, George Burns is doing a soft shoe while singing Fixing a Hole?
And it really doesn't matter if I'm wrong, I'm right. Where I belong, I'm right. Where I belong.
Didn't think so. Beatty Hoffler, of course, is a hedonistic scuzzbag who adds sex and drugs to the band's rock and roll. Does anyone else think it's a bit hypocritical every time a studio movie does this perils of fame and fortune thing? Hey folks, it might look like we're having a good time over here with our fancy cars and wild parties, but don't let that fool you. We're really miserable bastards. Just keep doing what you're doing, and we'll keep all the wealth and leisure away from you. You know, for your own good. But our main antagonist is Mean Mr. Mustard, played by Frankie Howard as a conglomeration of every kids' show villain ever. Mr. Mustard is a henchman of the mysterious FVB, which has charged him with the task of stealing Sgt. Pepper's instruments. Why? Okay, no. Crappy villain motivation, sin number 4. When you have your villain come out and say, "Grr, I'm a villain, I hate happiness and love and want money," we can't take them seriously because people don't think like that. Nobody goes out into the world with the intention to do evil. Well, except for us, but that's just our job. And without a genuine motivation, your villain is as flat and unconvincing as a target in a shooting gallery. I wish the movie had spent more time with Beatty Hoffler and his den of sin, because they present a more menacing picture of the dark side of human nature. The party he throws for the band is sinister yet seductive, showing the insidious allure of this new world the heroes find themselves in, while still making it unsettling. Meanwhile, Mustard twirls his cape and mugs for the camera and pervs on Strawberry, but never feels like a genuine danger. So the next morning... Oh, what they said. You get the picture. Band cuts an album, it's a hit, and voila, bigger than the opposition's kid. Everybody in Heartland cheers on their good old boys except for Strawberry, whose vaguely puzzled expression is supposed to convey heartsickness and concern, I think. And well should she be concerned, for Mr. Mustard steals the magical instruments, and Heartland becomes a miserable hear-hole in the space of a screen wipe. Strawberry runs away to find the band and alert them to Heartland's plight to the tune of sin number 5, She's Leaving Home.
We gave her everything money could buy.
This song pisses me off so much because it should have been one of the songs that worked. It's all about a girl running away and the grief of the parents she's left behind. It's dramatically appropriate, and the parts with Mom and Dad weeping over Strawberry's letter should have been heartbreaking. But instead of focusing on the important characters in this scene, they gave the majority of the song to Mr. Mustard's fembot accomplices. The vocoder voices make the lyrics virtually unintelligible, and their antics trying to wake the slumbering Mustard render the entire scene emotionally tone-deaf. Strawberry easily gains access to one of the band's recording sessions and easily convinces them to abandon the big city to help the folks back home while the bad guys just stand on the sidelines and shake their fists. The quintet commandeers the Mustard Mobile and goes in search of the purloined instruments. The instrument hunt turns out to be sin number 6. It's an extended fetch quest that is obviously in the movie so they can wedge in a few more songs and celebrity cameos. The drum is already in the Mustard Mobile, so the band goes to get the coronet at the offices of Dr. Maxwell, an evil plastic surgeon who turns old people into scoutmasters and who is played by Steve Martin?
She tells Max to stay when the class has got away. No, wait.
I'm pretty sure the script just read Steve Martin acts crazy here. Anyway, one West Side Story fight later, they have the coronet and are off on the next leg of the quest. The tuba is held by Father Son, a cult leader who brainwashes the Scoutmasters into being FVB's army. Or something. Father Son is played by Alice Cooper as Frank Zappa in one of the weirdest of this movie's weird moments.
Love is old, love is new. Love is all, love is you.
If you didn't think the Beatles were influenced by drugs before, you do now. Unfortunately, the Mustard Mobile's computer breaks down at this point, and the band can't locate the final instrument. Meanwhile, Beatty and Dougie have decided to lure the band back by holding a benefit concert for Heartland, which will... Look, if you're still asking for reasons why anything in this plot is happening, you haven't been paying attention. So later that... Oh, will you stop that? Under the cover of a gratuitous Earth, Wind, and Fire cameo, Dougie and Lucy try to steal the benefit funds, but not before getting hot and bothered over the comical bags of cash. I'd say the movie has run off the rails at this point, but to be honest, I'm not sure it had rails to begin with. Meanwhile, Mr. Mustard kidnaps Strawberry and takes her and the recovered instruments to FVB headquarters. Wait a minute, why didn't he just take all the instruments there to begin with? What purpose did divvying them up amongst the henchmen serve? The past half hour of this movie could have been avoided entirely. The Lonely Hearts Club Band follows in high-speed hot air balloon pursuit. I can't believe I just said that either. Seriously, what is it with you guys and hot air balloons? You can take my word for it, the internal combustion engine is not the tool of the devil. NASCAR, on the other hand, you'd better believe our claws are all over that. En route, Mr. Mustard takes the opportunity for more perving.
Would you lock the door? Oh, will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
I have to say, giving When I'm 64 to a dirty old man is a creepily ironic touch. Well played, movie. And so we arrive at the headquarters of the mysterious FVB, the future villain band, enemies of all things good and decent in the world, and... It's Aerosmith? Funny, I thought the musical embodiment of all evil would look more like something on the Disney payroll.
Come together right now.
Aerosmith sings Come Together, and despite the tenuous connection to the scene and the color guard routine going on around it, I rather like this cover. It's always been one of my favorite Beatles songs, with its funky guitar riff and weirdly enigmatic lyrics, and while Steven Tyler certainly is no better actor than the rest of the cast, he does exude a predatory sexuality and genuine menace when he sings it. I'm as surprised as you are, but this movie just got a saving grace. Peter Frampton and Steven Tyler engage in a hair-pulling match. I really can't believe I just said that. And when all seems lost for young Billy, Strawberry gently nudges the villain to his doom. So much for Strawberry Fields Forever. Strawberry gets this big state funeral like she's Eva Peron or something, and despite the glycerin tears, Peter Frampton still isn't selling me on Billy's despair. More like he can't figure out why she's not moving.
Dad, come on. You gotta get up.
I also love how even at the funeral, the Lonely Hearts Club band is still in their sexy rocker clothes. In respectful black, of course. Anyway, they mourn for about 10 minutes of screen time. I am not exaggerating. Until Billy decides he's had enough and goes to throw himself off a rooftop. But just as he does, the weather vane comes to life and Sergeant Pepper, who is now black for some reason, flies in to make everything better.
Get back! Get back! Get back to where you once belong. Get back, yeah. Get back! Get back to where you once belong. Get back, JoJo!
Sadly, I can believe I just said that. Yes, the movie just Deus Ex Machina'd its way into sin number 7, the most contrived and least deserved ending you could imagine for a movie. Nothing the characters do influences this moment. Sergeant Pepper just randomly pops up, reverses gravity on Billy, turns the bad guys into Catholics, you can write your own joke from there, and zaps Strawberry back into existence. How can anybody feel good about that? The main characters never really felt far enough to make an effective redemption, and the cost of their struggle against the bad guys just got refunded. Everything works out for them by divine fiat, and that's just cheating. And hey, if Sergeant Pepper could just show up and poof away everybody's troubles, where was he 2 hours ago? And on that graceless note, Sergeant Pepper's concludes with a sing-along chorus of 1970s celebrities coming together to evoke the famous album cover. And to make absolutely certain this movie is the single biggest waste of talent you will ever see. Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band is one of those bad movies that has a good movie buried somewhere deep inside it. Several of its ideas work, or could work with different execution, and if nothing else, you do get to hear a lot of passable to good covers of some great songs. But it's a complete mess on the storytelling level, and the music interferes with the flow of the film at least as often as it directs it. Sorry, Sergeant Pepper, I did not enjoy the show, and the Court of Musical Hell orders the following punishments. For their awful dramatic performances, we condemn Peter Frampton and the Bee Gees to be guests of honor at an Ed Wood Film Festival. For, among other things, misusing Steve Martin as an insane doctor, we condemn screenwriter Henry Edwards to a prophylaxis performed by Steve Martin as an insane dentist. Finally, for ruining one of the few scenes in the movie that actually had potential, we condemn the fembots to be used as spare parts for some really creepy singing automatons.
Why do birds suddenly appear?
So let it be recorded. This session of the Infernal Court in Musical Hell is now adjourned.